Good evening and welcome to Charleston, South Carolina for tonight's USL Championship match. Two of the oldest teams in the Eastern Conference get set to battle it out at MUSC Health Stadium for the first time this season. Hey everyone, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. My name's Poppy Miller, alongside me Derek Broadley. And Derek, both these teams come into tonight's matchup with just one loss on the season so far. One goal separated them last season. Both teams have some brilliant veteran leadership, and one of those is our one to watch tonight for the Riverhounds. It's the captain, Kevin Kerr.
Yeah, Kevin Kerr's a really established player at this level. He's been around the league a long time, and he's really very good at getting into little pockets in and around the box. Where he's also very effective is coming off the line and cutting into defences and driving in there and bending balls into corners like you can see here. So he's one the home team's really going to have to watch tonight.
The Scottish midfielder has 2 goals and 1 assist on the season so far, as he's in his 7th season with the Riverhounds. Definitely one to keep your eye on. Well, for Mike Amhouse's side, the one to watch on brilliant form at the minute, it's the goalkeeper, Joe Kosminski.
Yeah, Joe's really taken his form from last season and brought it to the fore this season. He's making some unbelievable saves right now. This is distribution, he's commanding of his back 3 or 4, depending which one the coach does. He's really made his performances be a standout this year. So away team's really going to have to try and work hard to beat him tonight.
You could see there him keeping his team in it in their win against Memphis 901 last weekend. Well, I actually managed to catch up with head coach Mike Amhouse earlier this week to preview tonight's match.
Probably one of the best defensive teams. Coach Lilly always has them prepared defensively. Last year they came in, sat back, they're going to make it difficult on you and make you work. And if you get 4 or 5 good chances, you got to make one of them, stand for you. And I tell you, they're just probably one of the best defensive teams, and that's what he's prided himself on and why he's had success in the league.
Welcome back to MUSC Health Stadium. It is match day. The players are out, just about ready to go. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. While we have a second, let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. Well, Derek, for Bob Lilly's side, 3 changes to the team that took on Nashville SC last weekend. And of course, they came back and got the equalizing draw.
Yeah, normally what happens when that happens, a team that comes on and makes changes right at the end and they get a positive result in that, those players tend to get a start in the following week, and I think that's what's happened in this case. So you can see there they've got 3 at the back. I think they're going to probably do with a 4-2-1 really, with DeSantos up front, Kerr wide right and Brett on the left. So yeah, it's not, I don't think there's too many surprises there for Mike Anhauser in terms of the shape. But obviously the 3 late changes will make a difference.
Keep your eye on Vanka Yazil and Joe Greenspan. Started every game so far this season for Bob Lilly. Like we mentioned earlier, very defensively sound. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Mike Anhauser's side, and of course Joe Kosminski, we highlighted him in the pre-game. Starts between the 6. Kyle Nelson makes his 2nd professional start.
Yeah, the big change here is Woodbine coming in at left back for Jay Bolt, who's picked up an injury in the week, and then that, you know, return of Piggott on the right. So not much. I don't think you'll see a change of personnel. And Brian Woodbine, you know, he's a seasoned professional. I'm sure he can slot in at that left back, left of the 3, and do very, very well tonight. But everything else is as normal. And as I said, we mentioned Kosminski, and he's coming off a fine season, and I'm sure he'll want to continue that tonight.
And of course, Tar Brian Anunga and Vincenzo Candela, the duo in the middle. We'll keep our eye on them. But we are away from MUSC Health Stadium. It's Zico Lewis to get us underway. Straight back to O'Brien Woodbine. A very slick surface out there tonight. We've just had a bit of rain here in Charleston, South Carolina, but perfect football conditions. Yeah, no, the temperature's nice now. It's starting to cool off in the evening. And as I said, I'm sure it's got all the ingredients to be a great game, this as well, because you know the field is a little bit slick. 2 teams that are defensively sound, but you know, certainly in the Battery's case, you know, a lot more expansive soccer this season than last, and you know, they're creating lots of chances. So yeah, it should be a good one. And O'Brien now will be doing his long throws from this left-hand side as opposed to where he was normally on his right. The Jamaican veteran to get us in from this near side. Riverhounds manage to break away, still battling in the middle. Falls back to Vanka Yazil. Greenspan, the 6'6" defender from New Jersey. Keep your eye on him tonight, getting into the attack as well. Carl Nelson, back to the captain, Taylor Mueller. Mueller started every match, played every minute so far this season for Mike Anhauser. Just missed 1 match last season. Other than that, played every single minute. A real mainstay for the Battery. Whitmire trying to connect on the far side. You can see the sun just starting to set over there. Yeah. Nico Rittmeyer, he came on and made a big difference last week, had a hand in the goal, the winning goal last week, so he's another one who's benefited from, you know, coming on as a substitute. And I think for any young player out there who, you know, everyone's been a sub at some point in their career, but when you come on and you make a difference, you know, you can turn heads on the coaching staff and get your start the following week. So always be aware, even if you're not starting, that you can come onto a game and you can change it, make a difference, and then next week you're in and take that starting spot away from someone. Kyle Morton to get us back underway. Of course, Bob Lilly has been changing his goalkeepers so far this season. Ben Lungard on the bench. The Columbus Crew low knee. And very interesting when you see managers doing that, rotating the goalkeepers in and out. Yeah, I think Gary Smith did it last week with Nashville, didn't he? So it seems to be a little bit of a trend. I think it's a bit different when you have a player on loan from the MLS, because I'm sure the MLS club want him to play. And secondly, you know, coaches love competition, don't they? Normally the goalkeeping role is one that's a battle, but if you've got 2 players and you can keep them, you know, both in contention, I think it's only good for the team. Kyle Nelson with a lofty throw, where Mario Piggott joins Arthur Basua up top. A breakaway for the Riverhounds. A bit of a late challenge there from O'Brien Woodbine, who will retreat. Yeah, it's a big game for him tonight, isn't it? You know, he's been playing wide on the right, and his defensive duties can be a little bit lackadaisical at times. But you know, tonight he's going to have to be on his guard. I mean, I'm sure you won't be seeing him marauding forward like he normally does down that right flank. He's got to be, you know, come up with a very disciplined performance, and I'm sure he's got it within himself to do that. It'll be interesting to see the outside backs for the Riverhounds as well, who have been getting into the attack successfully, especially in the last match against Nashville, that, like we mentioned in the pre-game, was losing 2-0 in the 80th minute and came back to draw the match. Ryan James over there on the far side. Candela in the middle. Back to Mueller.
And the Battery having Pigott back, that's a big one, isn't it? That's a big plus for the Battery. Him and Zico Lewis were forming a really good partnership, and then so now they'll see if they can get that going again tonight. I'm sure that that's something that Coach Anhauser's really looking forward to, getting them two back together.
Velarde, a California native in his first season with the Riverhounds. Back to Mueller, all the way home to Joe Kuzminski. Makes his 7th start tonight. 2 clean sheets on the season so far. Anunga trying to lace a ball into the attack. Falls back into the middle of the park. Here's Canado Forbes. Leads Kevin Kerr in. Could this be a chance? Kevin Kerr opens the scoring. 1-0 Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Yeah, and that's a poor goal for the Battery there. As I said, it's their first real attack, and what's worrying is they've gone straight down. It's a great finish by Kerr. We'll see this again. Once he gets beyond that defender, you'll see him here now. Look, he's very composed. He gets his body in front, and that's a great finish. Kaminsky's got no chance, but the worrying situation will be that they've come straight down through the middle and scored there. And this early in the game, as I said, that'll be a worrying sign for the Battery.
Kevin Kerr, we mentioned him in the pre-game, Derek. 3 goals on the season so far. Now leads the Riverhounds in goals scored.
You can see there, I think it was Forbes that put it through. Again, once he's got into position there, there's no doubt in that finish. That's a real clear finish there. And I think Nelson needs to do a little bit more just to stop him get out, a little bit more physical presence there to stop him getting through.
There's Valesky up there as well to help Kevin Kerr. And now the Battery have got a big task on their hands. Romario Pigott on the run in the attack. Adewale just shielding it out of play to safety.
And what I think now with the Battery is this is one of them situations where they haven't really gone behind early as in this game, certainly at home. So it's one of them games now where they're going to have to come out and be a little bit more positive, get onto the front foot, and see what offensive weapons they have now to put this Pittsburgh Riverhounds under some pressure.
Gustavo Solario, the man in the middle for tonight's match. Assisted by Brian Marshall and Benjamin Wooten. The 4th official tonight, Howard Ash. Kyle Morton ready to get us back underway. The 25-year-old Pennsylvania native. 6'4" goalkeeper started 3 of the 3 matches he's appeared in so far this season for Bob Lilly. Kasai out wide. James getting into the attack. Tracks across the middle of the park. All the way out to Jordan Dover. The Battery with the pressure. Adewale. Greenspan now. Greenspan, a massive physical presence, 6'6". Had a spell at Colorado Rapids and Minnesota United, as well as the USL side Charlotte Independence in his 3rd season with the Riverhounds. Rittmeyer falls for Candela. Can the Battery break away? Forced to cut back in. And good defensive pressure from the visitors. Here's Mueller. Woodbine in acres of space, takes a good touch. A lofty ball into the attack. Arthur Bosua is on the run. No worries at the back for Kyle Morton, who was well off his line, gets us underway quickly. Vanka Yazil. The pressure is building from the Battery. Woodbine in the air with Valesky. Greenspan keeps it in. Here's Lewis. Lewis does enough to win a free kick, and we've mentioned Zico Lewis several times in the past broadcast, Eric. The Bermudan international has had a great start to the season, both internationally and with the Battery.
Yeah, for sure. No, he's a talented player. I said I was very fortunate to work with him when he was a younger player, and he's come on leaps and bounds, and they're going to need all his trickery tonight. Right now, as I say, if you look at the Battery now, they've had good possession and they're working hard, but as I said, they just haven't really got a chance to sort of put any word for this Pittsburgh Riverhounds team. And Pittsburgh, if you look at them, they're working extremely hard off the ball. So right now, there's a lot of work rate going on, and there's not really a great deal of quality from either side right now.
Banker Yazil out the air. Here's Dover. Good combination play, but Anunga's there to deny him. Jordan Dover, the Canadian wingback. Another one to have started every single match so far this season. James on the far side. Valesky. On to Candela. Out wide to Rittmeyer, the Savannah native. In his third season with the Battery. Into the Colombian. Takes almost a deflection. O'Brien Woodbine making his way into the attack.
Rittmeyer there, you know, he's got all the speed and strength that he needs, but sometimes he just needs to be a little bit more positive in his game actually when he gets a chance to go one-on-one, because he's very good at it when he does it.
Picked out the air by Anunga. Romario Pigott coming in, but James beats him to the race. Rittmeyer in space. Nelson finds his feet, loves a one-on-one opportunity. Just like that, Rittmeyer into the box, straight through. Zico Lewis is there. Lewis in the box, fancy trickery. Van Schaik at the top.
He's shown recently that he can hit one, can't he, Van Schaik? He's a couple
Here's
of good...
Woodbine with the delivery, just a little bit too much on that.
It's not his favourite for O'Brien Woodbine, but as I said, Jaron Van Schaik, you know, when he gets in and around the box now, his confidence about, he's had a couple of goals, one that was awarded back to him from the other week. So, you know, he's got a very good left foot on him, and he's one that should be looking to take a few shots from the edge of the box as well. So a little bit more positive from the Battery there. You know, they're getting in. Still at the minute, they're throwing in a lot of crosses from deep right now. They need to get it down and get Bosher into the game and get Zico Lewis and Pigott into the game on the floor just in and around the 18-yard box. And
we mentioned both these teams have had a very positive start to the season. Pittsburgh haven't lost since their first match of the year, and that was against the Tampa Bay Rowdies at Al Lang Stadium. Of the 10 goals they'd scored coming into this match, 7 different players were on the score sheet. And of course, Kevin Kerr added another tally to that so far tonight if you're just joining us. Here's James. It's a good ball for Forbes. Tries to chip Kuzminski, and he's done just that. Canado Forbes makes it 2 for the Riverhounds.
That's an excellent finish there again. You know, you question the position of the defenders there. Again, I think Nelson's been, you know, sort of guided there by Taylor Mueller there, that he's just let him run in behind him, and that's a great finish. Taylor Mueller's gone in. Maybe you could question Joe Kuzminski's position a little bit, but I think you have to put that down as an outstanding finish. He obviously knew what he was doing. He saw the keeper off his line and just lifted it over his head. So now the Battery have got a big mountain to climb. As I said, I don't think they've been in this situation before, but here's that finish again. He just runs in behind Nelson, and that's a great flick up and over there. That's a great finish. You know, take nothing away from anyone there. That is a great finish.
Canado Forbes, the Jamaican, gets his first goal of the season for the Riverhounds. And here's Lewis. Can't get past Vanka Yazil. Straight out, O'Brien Woodbine. Delivers a long one. Greenspan in the air. Not much is going to get behind the 6'6" defender. Van Schaik. Back to Mueller. Fans, let me remind you, Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues around the world since 1947. And there's a chance there for the Battery. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportsamerica.com.
Right now, as I say, you can see a little spring in the step now. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds, you know, they're knocking the ball around. They look a little bit more energised than the Battery team right now. The Battery team now have really got to try and get a real footprint in this game. And, you know, as I said, they're going to need something just to wake them up a little bit. Maybe a tackle, a shot. You know, Taylor Mueller's now got to captain this team to try and really force them to get back into the game. It's still early on in the game when we're, 13 minutes in. But this is definitely new territory for the Battery, being this far behind in a game this early, especially here at MUSC Health Stadium.
The Battery haven't lost a match so far on home soil this year. Always bolster a fantastic home record. And that is going to be a yellow card for Tarbara and Anunga. First one of the match that Gustavo Solario has issued. Well, Derek, you were just saying maybe this game needs a tackle.
Yeah. Sometimes when you play, you just need something. I mean, this is not what I was expecting, a yellow card, but you can see it's just a mistimed tackle there. But maybe that's something there just to slow the game down and say, right, okay, now we're in a game now, we've got to start picking it up. And I'm sure that's what Coach Mike Anhauser will be looking for now. He'll be looking for a little spark from his team. And that, you know, let's be honest, that, you know, the Battery can get a foothold back in this game. They can certainly, they've got goals in this team. Boschua, Van Schaik, Lewis, Piggott. You know, they've got goals all over the place. They just need a little spark to get them going. And the crowd probably needs to give them a little G up as well.
Rittmeyer out the air. James brings it down. Ryan James coming in off a fantastic performance against his former club at Nashville last weekend. Scored the equalizer in extra time. One of the 5 players that started and played every minute of every match so far this season. Keep your eye on him getting the ball into dangerous areas in the box. Here's Dover into Forbes, trying to lead it for Valesky, but Carl Nelson comes to recover. Anunga back to Woodbine. Pumped in the air. Boschua comes to the rescue. Couldn't quite get the redirection on it. Well, Bob Lilly down there below, just giving some orders out to his team from the bench.
And right now, the difference in the teams is you've got Valesky, Kerr and Forbes, whose movement has been great. You know, they're switching positions, they're coming back, they're interchanging, whereas the Battery look very regimented right now. You know, Piggott stayed on the right, Lewis has stayed on left, and Boschua has been down the middle. So they need a little bit more fluidity from the front 3, and they're certainly getting some examples of that on their opposition's team.
Here's Rittmeyer trying to come out on top on the far side. Adewale does enough to deny him. A throw in for the black and yellow. Leave it for Nico Rittmeyer, the College of Charleston product. Into the box, Boschua is there. And that'll be a goal kick for the Riverhounds.
Yeah, it was a good idea, wasn't it? Throw it into the target player and get some movement coming off him, but just didn't work out there now.
Kyle Morton on your screen there.
Pittsburgh Riverhounds, you know, from their game last week, they'll know that 2-0 is not a safe score, even as early in the game as this. They know they'll be still thinking to themselves, you know, this game's very early on now. We've got to, you know, keep going. Their first target's going to be to get to half time and see where they are. You know, and obviously if there's going to be other chances for them as well.
Rittmeyer sliding in. Valesky up against Mueller. Van Schaik back to safety. Kuzminski tells his team to get wide. Ops for Zico Lewis. No worries for Greenspan at the back.
Yeah,
here's Canardo Forbes. Anunga with the recovery. Still Forbes and Anunga takes a deflection, and that is going to be a corner for the Riverhounds.
The Battery got to stop feeling sorry for themselves. You know, little things aren't going their way. Anunga's yellow card, that one there. Anunga thought he got a goal kick there. They've just got to snap out of this and come to the terms that they're involved in a very competitive game right now.
Here's the rookie Velarde with the in-swinger from this near side. It's a good delivery towards the back post, redirected by Greenspan just wide of the target.
And he's a lot bigger than Boschua. And as I said, that's a matchup there. I mean, you know, now you look at that set piece, you know, the Battery are, you know, outsized, I think, when it comes to a set piece. You know, Greenspan's a big lad, and he's in there, and he's certainly made a presence there. It was a bit too easy for him. He just couldn't direct it back onto target. But Joe Kuzminski, this is probably his second or third touch, and he's let 2 goals in, which is very unusual for him.
Here's Greenspan at the other end trying to defend Zico Lewis. Safety in numbers from the visitors. Arthur Boschua putting Morton under pressure. And the Battery keep the possession. Here's Candela. James wins it back for his side. Kevin Kerr on the flank. Touch inside, Adewale drops it into the mix. That's what you were talking about, Derek. Now Zico Lewis out on the far side, a bit of a change there.
Yeah, as I said, they need a little bit more movement. You know, You know, and that's a feature normally of the battery there. I mean, you can see he does well. He's surrounded by players. He gets his free kick there. He does very well to stay on it. That's probably the first time he's crossed that half of the field. And there needs to be a little bit more movement, a little bit more creativity. And here comes Nelson marauding forward. Look, he'll feel that he needs to own one back for maybe some of his little bit of loose marking now. Let's see if he can do the same to Pittsburgh.
Candela, the battery have been dangerous on set pieces, but not on that occasion. Taylor Mueller as well, of course, always making his way up into the box to get on the end of these deliveries.
I think that free kicks has summed up really the first 20 minutes of the battery, isn't it? It's just been huff and puff and no quality. Okay, you know, credit to Pittsburgh Riverhounds. You know, they've taken their opportunities. They've really only had 2 good chances now, other than the corner kick, and they find themselves 2-0 up.
The former James Madison standout. Straight out of the back. Back and forth in the middle. Oleski still trying to go. Woodbine gets a touch on it, taken quickly by Dover. Oleski, the goal scorer from last weekend's match against Nashville. Very familiar face for Bob Lilly, a part of his 2015 championship winning side. Here's Nico Rittmeyer.
And this is where Nico Rittmeyer really needs to go at people. He had a whole half a field there. He's got to be more positive when he gets the ball and really go at players.
Woodbine into Van Schaik. Van Schaik forced to take a loose touch. Does enough with the pressure to win the throw. Jared Van Schaik, the veteran leader, returned to Charleston in 2017. You can see Bob Lilly on your screen there. And Bob Lilly, what a wealth of experience he has got in his 19th season as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 2 very experienced coaches, you've got 2 very experienced teams. I mean, 2 well-established teams. As I said, this has got, you know, all the makings of a top-quality game. You know, both teams know it.
What a brilliant ball through. Just a bit too much pace on it. Back to your point, you're absolutely right. Mike Anhauser celebrated this club last season. Oleski will be offside there. And like we always mention, difficult to think of the Charleston Battery without thinking of Mike Anhauser. Does such a fantastic job year in, year out. The only club in the USL history to make the playoffs, for every consecutive year that they've been a club.
No, he does very well. And as I said, but tonight he's got his work cut out. He's got a team there that looks a little bit flat right now. And, you know, it's not something you can just put your finger on and say, well, one player's not doing their job. You know, there's a lot of players out there that are really not at the races right now. And, you know, the only good thing is, you know, there's more to come. There's another example, just a little loose pass there by Anunga. You know, it's just not happening for them right now. And this is, as professionals now, they've got to make this happen. They've got to really come to terms with, you know, as I said, this is where in other sports you'd get your time out, you could regroup. But soccer, they've got to learn to do this on the field.
Morton just taking the sting out the game. Woodbine. Back to Mueller. A lofty ball into the attack. Almost fell straight to the feet of Rittmeyer. Adewale was there. Candela. Back to Nelson.
This is familiar play by the battery in their 3. They don't mind moving the ball around from side to side, and they can either go through the middle or they can go over the top. But right now, if you notice, there's not too many runs forward. You know, there's one that's a hopeful ball. Yeah, that's a tough one. You know, you've got Greenspan, who's always going to beat Zico Lewis in the air, and then with this nice, you know, skiddy pitch from the rain and the watering that happened before, you know, you've got to be passing to feet and getting things into people's feet in those areas of the field.
Greenspan out the back. Anunga picks up the second ball. Canado Forbes can't connect. Here's Van Schaik. Woodbine loses time. Finds the feet of Nelson.
Another loose pass forward there. Oh. Was unlucky there by Boschua. He read the play well. He read the back pass and it just sort of skidded away. So Yeah, no, he's as I said, right now, he's a little spark from the battery that, the longer the game goes on, that, some player somewhere has got to just give him like that fuse just to get them going. And right now, if you're Bob Lilly, you're thinking, this is a great game from his team's 2-0 up. The other team's a lot of loose passes. His team's just got to keep the ball a little bit. There's a loose one from them. So right now, the game's a little bit scrappy, which is really surprising for the level of player and the level of coaches that we got.
And of course, for Mike Hanhauser tonight, missing his leading goal scorer, Ian Svanterson, out with an injury. A couple of players just picked up a few knocks here and there. So not a very numerically big roster available for selection tonight.
No, not really, no. But as I said, coaches know this. I mean, injuries are part of soccer. You're going to do it. That's why you carry extra players, and you should expect them to go in. And someone's misfortune is someone else's fortune. So that's now what the Battery will be looking at now.
Van Schaik leads Lewis into the attack. Lewis trying to cut inside the box. Greenspan's there and takes the deflection off Zico Lewis. That'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, and there's another little bit of misfortune there. Zico Lewis, he'd done the dummy again. The defender kicked it off and it went out for a goal kick. So right now, it's just not happening for him. As I said, if you're Bob Lilly there, he's out there now trying to drive his team on, because the Battery are having more possession, just not a lot of quality in there. And I think he can see the signs now that the Battery's trying to come back into the game. Good coaching from Bob Lilly there.
25 minutes in the books from MUSC Health Stadium in Charleston, South Carolina. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Brody. Thank you for joining us for tonight's match, wherever you are. And welcome to anybody joining us from Pittsburgh. James touches back, chooses to go to Vanka Yazil. Out wide to Dover. Loose deflection in the middle. Mueller is there with the pressure on Valesky. Anunga brings it down. Quick feet from the Battery. Here's the MLS veteran Woodbine.
Hey, Battery fans, it's time for the Tropical Smoothie Cafe
Patience
Smooth Fan
from
Giveaway.
the Battery.
The fan sitting in section
Here comes
W4,
the long ball. Arthur Basua is on. Adewale
is the winner.
just shields it into the hands of Morton.
It's obviously something they've worked on the Battery, because that's the second time now Woodbine's looked for that long ball into Boshua, and right now it's just not working for them. And as I said, Battery trying to come into the game. You can see what they're trying to do. There's another one into Boshua there. They're looking for him to try and just get hold of the ball and play other people in. And last couple of weeks he's done really well, as he's always worked hard, Arthur Boshua, but tonight, as I said, he's in a physical confrontation, and he's just got to do a little bit more to get out. And here we go now with the Riverhounds. Here's James.
Into the feet of Canado Forbes, the Jamaican. Was with Bob Lilly back at Rochester Rhinos, was actually the captain of the side, and then captains the side tonight as well. In 2015 was part of the USL Cup winning squad in his second season with the Riverhounds. Woodbine short ball into Anunga. Mueller with time opts to go out wide to Rittmeyer.
There's another example. Rittmeyer goes to take players on, and he comes back on himself and gets tackled. He thought he got fouled, but he's got to be a lot more positive in possession.
Valesky, what a challenge from the captain Mueller. Here's Pigott. Trying to pick up some pace. Mario Pigott, the Panamanian Youth International. A loose ball in the middle. Candela does almost enough. Canado Forbes just dropping deep into the midfield to help defensively. Adewale, limited options. Goes straight to safety. Good pressure from Lewis.
Yeah, good pressure. You can see I'm watching the game now, and Taylor Mueller now just starting to use his vocal presence now to get into some of these players. I don't know if you could hear him on the screen here, but he's starting to get very vocal now with some of these players.
Kyle Nelson couldn't connect the pass in his first season with the Battery. Kyle Nelson, the Wofford graduate.
Thrust into the game the other week and actually coped very, very well. But tonight is another big test for him now. As I said, sometimes it's easy to come into a game when you're winning, but now you come in and you've started the game and You know, maybe someone might point the finger at you for one of the goals. Now you've got to see what a test of character he's got on him.
Joshua. Side to win it back. Adewale now forced to go back to Morton. Joshua's there with the pressure. Likes to hang on that last defender.
Yeah, it's a big game for Boshu as well. You know, he got his goals in his debut. Now that the game begins, you know, his career begins. He's got, you know, he's had the highs now. Now he's got to see if he can work through a performance like this.
It's a good ball into the attack for James. Great cross. Valesky was knocking at the door, couldn't quite connect.
And that was too good a cross, really. It beat everyone, including Kuzminski.
You can see that. Took one to the face, it looked like, from our angle. You can see that's what Piggott is arguing with the fourth official down there. And a big difference of heights, as you can see. Greenspan, of course, 6'6", Romario Piggott 5'6".
I think it was the stray arm. When players throw their arms out, you know, that's when you can cause serious damage, especially in and around the jaw and the head and stuff. And I think that's what Coach Anheuser was so annoyed about. You know, it wasn't a protection thing, it was actually a swing of the arms.
Greenspan gets away with one there. Anunga battling on this near side. Dover takes it quickly. Valade in the middle.
Another straight ball again, you know, that's unusual for the battery. You know, Candela there's, you know, I think what the danger is when things aren't happening, your players then start to do things that they don't normally do. Candela doesn't normally play them long straight balls. Normally he's a link-up player. It just helps to link the game up. Right now, he's seeing that his team's not functioning well and he's trying to do things he wouldn't abnormally do.
Valade falls back to the feet of Woodbine. Here's Anunga. Opts to go long. Nicely won by Ryan James.
I think sometimes when you're not firing on all cylinders, you just got to play your way in. You just got to have longer spells of possession and just keep the ball, and then hopefully one of your good players will come and have a little bit of magic and get you back into the game.
See spells of magic from Zico Lewis. Extremely agile. Here's Mueller. Anunga steps in. Nelson combines at the back.
Yeah, and says,
One of them long straight passes, as I said. I know it's probably something they've worked on, but right now it's definitely not the tactic they want to be using. You know, there's about the fifth ball now that's just been played, either gone through to the keeper or gone out for a goal kick. So the battery's got to come up with some different solutions to the problems that they're faced. And right now, if you're Bob Lilly, you're very happy with this. You're 2-0 up, the other team's not functioning properly, and your team's just sitting in there, not really under too much pressure.
Like we mentioned, the Riverhounds unbeaten in 6 matches now. Their only loss of the season, the very first match of the year at Al Lang Stadium against the Rowdies. Of course, we mentioned the battery up until today's contest unbeaten at home so far. Let's see if they can find themselves back on the score sheet. Forbes out for James. Into Valade. Valade, one of the super subs from the match against Nashville on Saturday.
And right now, Bob Lilly's decisions have been proven to be right, isn't he? He's made the 3 changes and his team's 2-0 up, so they finished the last game very well and they started this game very well. So, you know, you have to say good coaching, good decisions, and fair play to the players that have come in, like Valade, where he's come in and made a difference and then continued that good form further on.
It's a good ball from Van Chake. Couldn't quite get on the end of it for Bosua. Morton there to collect. Taking his time to get us back underway. Fans, you can follow the Charleston Battery and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus, home to the USL, MLS, UFC and many more. Join over the 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at espnplus.com.
And right now, the atmosphere in the stadium's flat, the players are flat. You know, something's got to happen. something something needs to happen in the game from the side. You know, the crowd. You see now, if you look to the far corner, we've got the crowd just starting to get going now. They realise that they're needed. Whenever you needed a 12th man, it's now, just to get them kick-started.
Candela for Piggott. Mario Piggott opts to go out wide for Woodbine, takes a touch inside. It's a good ball through to Van Schaik. A ball into the box. Zico Lewis couldn't do anything with it. Comes in at an awkward height. Takes a bobble. The Battery still have the possession. Here's Piggott again. Can they find the gaps through the back line? Candela out wide to Rittmeyer. Bernardo Forbes picks up the loose ball. You see the Battery just raising the tempo now a bit. And Kevin Kurt desperate to get his side back on the front foot.
And it's not effort right now. You know, the Battery are working hard. It's just sometimes you're in them games and little things just don't go your way. But you know, you've got to keep doing the right things, and eventually it will click. And that's what it feels like right now. That, you know, they can see their game styles very clear. They're trying to go from back to front a little bit quicker, trying to put the other, you know, Pittsburgh Riverhounds under a little bit of pressure in front and behind. It's just not quite happening right now. As I said, we've still got an hour of this game to go.
Back finds its way out to Dover. The ball into the box. Mueller's there to deny. And Joe Kuzminski chooses to play it out quickly. Arthur Boschua trying to get on the end of it. And almost does just that. Greenspan to step in. Van Schaik back to Anunga. Quick feet from the Cameroonian. Nelson combines with Rittmeyer. And the Battery trying to find spaces on the flanks.
Yeah, and I know that, you know, Woodbine's actually, you know, had to come and change position, but believe it or not, right now they miss him going forward. They miss his throw-ins from the right. You know, Nico Rittmeyer right now hasn't really got in behind. You know, the last few games I've been watching, O'Brien gets in behind. He earns some throw-ins. You know, their right side has been very potent right now. It's been almost non-existent right now. You know, Rittmeyer's working hard, but all his work's in and around the halfway line. Yeah, this could be it.
Well won by Boschua. Battling with Greenspan. The referee is going to give a free kick for the Battery. What colour will this be? It's going to be a yellow card for Joe Greenspan. Let's have another look at this, Derek.
Yeah, now this is clear, isn't it? Arms, and you know, he realised he wasn't going to get there. You know, as I said, it wasn't a clear goal-scoring opportunity where the red card could have been brought out. You know, it's actually a very good foul by Greenspan really there, because he was beat for pace. Boschua was in on there, and Boschua just got in front of him, and I think would have had a chance on goal, but not a clear scoring or goal-scoring opportunity. So here's a Battery. Maybe this is the spark they need to get this crowd going and up and going.
Boschua with a fantastic chance for the Battery. It's Vincenzo Candela and Jared Van Schaik over the dead ball. The height is in the box. Taylor Mueller, Kyle Nelson coming in at the back post. O'Brien Woodbine, the last man at the back. And of course the Riverhounds not taking any chances, pulling everyone back behind the ball as Kyle Morton organises his wall.
I think here it's definitely set up for Candela, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Jared Van Schaik try and whip this in around the wall on this near side. Let's have a look.
Looks like it is going to be Candela to take it. It takes a deflection from the wall. There is an appeal that it took a handball in the box, but out come the Riverhounds. And that was a bit of a cheeky one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it was the best strike there. As I said, the deflection made it look. And I said everything now is just that, you know, the Battery getting a little bit cheap. Maybe this is what they need. Here it is, the free kick here that hits the. It looks like it hits the elbow on the wall, yeah. And I think that's what Candela's saying. And the arm wasn't in a really good position there, was it? I think he's got a case for a penalty there, but I think the referee was in a position where he could never have seen it. He'd be relying on a linesman there.
Everyone expecting the big ball in to find the head of his teammates. Fizzed a low strike in, and like you said, it looked deflection. And we're back underway. Woodbine propels Boschua into the attack. It falls for Piggott. The Battery with some wind behind the sails now. Straight across the park. Rittmeyer. Numbers are in the box for the home side. And of course, Greenspan to the rescue for the visitors.
That was a poor touch by Rittmeyer when he actually stopped him from going forward. There's another loose pass there. But, you know, to be fair, Boschua's trying, isn't he? Last couple of minutes, he's got broken away once there. He's won a great header there. He's got in the box. So, you know, he's coming into his own now, and hopefully he can start to spur on a few others. Again, Rittmeyer needs to do a little bit more. He needs to get a little bit higher up the field, be a little bit more positive with his touches. But there's some good signs there for this crowd now that the Battery is finally waking up and starting to have a get involved in this game.
You mentioned Boschua been very busy. This is rookie season with the Battery. 1 goal on the year so far already. Had a shout for a second goal, but it was awarded to Van Schaik from their last home match. There's Van Schaik on the ball now. He battles back to put Dover under a bit of pressure.
And, that's a foul. As I said, it's just a lazy leg in there. I think Dover there has definitely played for it, but again, you know, he will see it now. Look, you know, he sticks his leg in there, just catches his standing foot. It is a foul, but it's an avoidable foul.
It's going to be Greenspan out the back. Very aware of his watch. Won by Forbes. And no worries at the back for Joe Kuzminski. Quick goal kick. Here's Boschua. Falls straight through. Greenspan sends it directly back up the pitch.
That Boschua one there from Joe Kuzminski, that ball's coming out from about 100 foot in the air, and he's doing well just to get his body there. I think Kuzminski, he can normally hit a flatter kick. The last two, it looks like he's just spooned off it a little bit. And he needs a little bit more quality than that.
About 4 minutes left to play before added on time here in Charleston, South Carolina. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. Franco Yazil out wide, finds the feet of Ryan James.
And the sad thing is, if you really look at Pittsburgh, they've been equally as sloppy. I'm sure Bob Lilly, he'll be absolutely delighted to be 2 goals up, but his team hasn't really played the best soccer. You know, they've just been better than a bad Battery side up until now.
Here's Van Schaik. Sure helps win it in the middle of the park. He's got Woodbine with him. The Riverhounds doing well to get back defensively, forces him back into the midfield. Candela. Loose touch from Anunga. Kevin Kerr there to pick it up on the far side. Here's Forbes. James joining in the attack, finds his feet. Carl Nelson forced to come out wide and clear. Make sure he does just that, and he's through into the car park. James back to Kerr.
And Mike Anhauser, you've got one of 2 options here at half time, and I think as a coach you've got 1 or 2. You can go in there and you can absolutely have a right go at your players with a view to trying to motivate them through like the frustration and telling them all what they've done wrong. Or you can go in there and say, do you know what, boys, this has just been a real bad day in the office this first half. Now let's go out and play and almost start the game again. And I think different times, different approaches will work for that. Because, you know, the Battery, they've been outstanding this season, but this performance for this first half has been really below par, and there's no real reasons why. So it'll be interesting to see what one it is. Is he going to go in and try and really motivate them, or is he going to go in and just say, hey, right, come on, let's refocus, go again, and see what happens in the second half?
And if you were a coach, Derek, what would your approach be if you were Mike Anhauser? Almost fell for Valesky there. That's going to be a free kick for the visitors. And it looks like it's going to be O'Brien Woodbine in the books. And now this does bring up a chance for Pittsburgh as we're approaching half-time.
I feel what Gillespie's saying there is if that's a foul, I'm through on goal. That's got to be a goal scoring opportunity. But let's have a look at it now. Yeah, look, he's the wrong side. I think I think it's his feet just catches him. I don't even think he's looking at the player. He's looking. His eyes are on the ball, Woodbine, and he just catches his feet. Referee's probably right to give feet. Now this is a big moment in the game now, because if it goes 3-0, that half-time team talk I was just talking about goes one way. It's like this ain't good enough, blah blah blah, and gets everyone going. So this is a big moment in the game.
Well, we've got Velarde and Canado Forbes over the ball. It looks like Forbes is going to be the favourite. Greenspan just behind them as well, because Minsky very busy organising his wall.
And that wall's not good enough now. Look at it. Look, there's so many gaps in that wall. I don't know what the referee's doing, but they've got to get. There's too many players shouting and bawling. Look, there's gaps in it. It's not even a wall.
It's a bit chaotic in the box. You can see Van Schaik there. He's going to get a yellow card. Jared Van Schaik in the books as well, and you can see the captain Taylor Mueller just having a word. Mario Pigott ushering him back.
It's just, you know, all Jared Van Schaik was doing is you're putting us too far back. He just counted the 10 yards, and that's more for sarcasm than anything else. It is frustrating because that wall is definitely more than 10 yards right now. Okay.
Well, here we go. The wall is set, and it's going to be Greenspan with the strike. Takes the deflection off the wall. Velarde to reinsert it into the box. Nothing to come of it, though. Can Kuzminski get us back underway quickly? 2 minutes of added on time here, as you can see on your screen there.
And I think right now the frustration of the Battery players, as I said, half-time cannot come quick enough for them right now. They're getting wrapped up with referees and decisions, and they're taking all their frustrations out. It's not been a good half. You know, they probably need this half-time whistle more than any teams needed it this season, just so they can get back into this game.
Joshua picks up the ball from Zico Lewis. Woodbine joining in the attack. He's got some pace, O'Brien Woodbine. It's going to be a free kick. And Woodbine now on a yellow card. He's going to have to be careful for the second half, Derek.
Yeah, no, big time. And he is one of these emotional players that gets involved. You just hope he's tempered. You see that he's ranting with the referee now. As I said, half-time, Mike Anhauser needs that half-time whistle now more than anything. Get them in, get them refocused, and come out with the second half, and hopefully we'll see a completely different side with a totally different mentality in this second half. Nelson
straight out the air, but into the mix. James looking for Valesky at the top of the box. Mueller's there. Took an awkward bounce. The Battery trying to break away. Over with the foul on Pigott. And up comes O'Brien. Woodbine takes it quickly. Greenspan with the pressure. Pigott forced inside, couldn't connect. Van Schaik. And this time it is a fantastic challenge. It looks like it from our angle. I thought, Derek, you might have thought differently. Join the list of Battery players in the book, and things are starting to get a bit heated now.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's because it's two-footed. That's why he's given it. He's won the ball. He's won the ball. He's got him two-footed.
Yellow card for the Charleston Battery issued in number 7.
So now there's 3 yellow cards. As I said, you know, this is the half sort of disintegrating for the Battery now, as I said, and you can see Bob Lilly now has just pulled Greenspan to one side. He can see what's going on. Taylor Mueller's doing the right thing. He's gone and spoke to referee comfortably, but they've worked together there to give that yellow card. You can see it was two-footed. You know, he hasn't made contact with the player, but I think it's the intent that he's giving it to him.
This must be the closing seconds of the first half. Played about a minute over the extra time, and there we go, the first half whistle. The first half is in the books from MUSC Health Stadium. Derek, broadly, your thoughts?
Yeah, if you know the Battery fans, you know, you can see there's starting to be a bit of an emotion in the ground, but that's not been the best half from the Battery. Let's be honest. You know, it's not really worked for them this half. You know, they conceded two poor goals really. I mean, great goals if you're Pittsburgh. But the whole half's disintegrated. You know, they're getting involved in the referee. I think it just needs to be a totally refocused team in the second half. You know, 3 players are on yellow cards. They're going to have to get their discipline. and it hasn't really worked. I think the coaching staff now have got all the work to do now, and this is where, you know, the coaches really get into it and earn their money.
You can see Captain Taylor Mueller there just making sure Van Schaik comes straight into the locker room as the Battery head in with head coach Mike Hanhauser. The Riverhounds head in with Bob Lilly. Stay with us at halftime. We'll be having a look at the next upcoming match for the Charleston Battery in the player spotlight. It's all to come. We'll be back in a moment. Another week of action is in the books as we review all the top headlines from the USL Championship in this week's Around the League, presented by Home Telecom. The Battery took all 3 points from their first meeting against Memphis 901 from AutoZone Park on Saturday night. It was the super sub Dante Marini who stole the show in extra time. Kyle Nelson laced the ball through, and it was Marini who made sure it found the back of the net and earned the black and yellow all 3 points. The Battery return home this Saturday to take on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. New York Red Bulls 2 moved to the top spot in the Eastern Conference after a midweek 5-0 win against Birmingham Legion. Etienne Jr. didn't let his one-on-one opportunity go to waste to kick off the scoring at MSU Soccer Park. Nealis was next with his first professional goal, and Jurgensen tallied 2 back-to-back. Tom Barlow rounded out the scoring, registering the 5th in the 90th minute. Red Bulls 2 lead goals on the season so far. St. Louis FC sits in second place in the Eastern Conference after a 3-1 win against Swope Park Rangers. Cicerone was the man to watch after assisting Jepson with the first and then scoring the second. Despite Swope Park pulling one back, Carl Gregg sealed the deal for Anthony Pulis' side from Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. Well, that just about wraps things up for Week 8 for the Charleston Battery. I'm Poppy Miller.
conference coming up. It's headed and in.
Nodded back in. Sandoval is there. So is Hamilton. Loose in front. It's Frater. What a hit. New Mexico equalized in the dying moments. It's a hat trick for Frater. Unbelievable at the lab.
Juan Pablo Capa with a direct free kick. Chips it. A goal! The equalizer for the captain.
Lomas in. Lomas! And how about North Carolina FC? Lomas with his 6th goal of the season.
Back to the goal scorer. Barby will try again. And another. That is absolutely world class. That is much harder than it looks to do.
Didi Traore. Oh my goodness, what a run. Didi Traore crosses. Didi Traore! It is a work of magnificence.
Charleston Battery Soccer Club is the youth partner of the United Soccer League Championship Club Charleston Battery and also the Women's Premier Soccer League Club Charleston Fleet. We are a club that is totally focused on long-term individual player development that targets development in 3 main areas: player development, coaching development and parent education. We strive to create the total learning environment at all of our venues and locations in Somerville, Daniel Island and Mount Pleasant via our age-specific curriculums for both boys and girls from the ages of 6 through to 18 years. An in-house video-based curriculum and methodology is available to all players alongside our unique skills fit play sessions where our professional players interact directly with youth players on techniques needed to play in the modern game. All players in the Low Country who are interested in getting on that pathway to the pros should come check us out in May 2019 at our trial sessions. We look forward to seeing you all.
Welcome back to MUSC Health Stadium. It's half-time here between the Charleston Battery and Pittsburgh. Have a second. Let's turn our attention to the Charleston Battery's next match. They will remain at home to take on a very good team in the Eastern Conference, St. Louis, who spent last season in the Western Conference but now back in the East, Eric.
Yeah, for a team to do that is very unique, but it gives them all the knowledge of playing against teams from both sides of the country. This really is going to be a great game because St. Louis has started off the season very, very well. The Battery really is playing well at the moment and can continue their form at home. So I think that the crowd's in for a real good one. And as I said, having a coach or head coach whose father's has managed in the Premier League is always an inspiration to people. So again, a real thriller on the books.
St. Louis currently sitting in second place in the Eastern Conference. Going to be a fantastic matchup. And speaking of great games, the following weekend the Charleston Battery will head to Lucas Oil Stadium to take on Indy 11 for the first time this season. And what a match that was last season.
Yeah, this game was a thriller, wasn't it? There was goals everywhere, you know, and the goal in the last minute almost felt like a victory for the Battery. So very ready the games to live up to what they were last season. But if the fans get anything close to what they got last year, they're in for a real. Two teams playing well, and again, one the Battery really wants to go on the road and get some points.
It was a nail-biting finish, and like you mentioned, absolutely goals galore. 3-3 the final score. We are excited for that one already. Well, let's turn our attention to this week's player spotlight. Of course, it's got to be Dante Marini. 2 goals on the season so far, and 2 game winners for the Black and Yellow.
Yeah, this is a fairy tale story for this young man, isn't he? He had a very serious injury a couple of years ago, and he's fought his way back, and I think the goals are just the icing on the cake right now.
And you had some time to actually spend with him during that injury, a big part of the youth system here at the Battery.
Yeah, one of the times when he was at a low point, coming back from his recovery last season, and again he was a real inspiration to the players. He worked hard, and all the lads loved having him around, and I really think it helped him as well, going back to see what his roots were like. But yeah, fantastic for him to be back at this level. A
great coach, player and person, and definitely a fan favourite around here. Well, we're going to take a quick break now, but when we come back we'll have second half action from MUSC Health Stadium. It's the Charleston Battery taking on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Backing them now.
Fans are From the comfort of a truly classic European football experience. That's the Three Lions Club brought to you by Physicality. Looking for breakfast or lunch here on Daniel Island? Be sure to check out one Bagels Cafe on 7th Farm Drive for fresh bagels, sandwiches, coffee, and more. Open 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. on weekdays and 7 a.m. to noon on weekends.
Welcome back to MUSC Health Stadium. It's halftime here between the Charleston Battery and Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. Thank you for joining us for tonight's match wherever you are. Well, a disappointing first half for the Battery as they trailed 2-0. While we have a second, let's take a look at the first half highlights.
Well, since I've been doing the commentary, this is probably not one of the best performances the Battery had. It started off badly there with this great goal here by Kerr. It was just poor defending. The team weren't tight enough in midfield. Then it got worse with his second one with Forbes, which really was a great finish. I mean, although you can say the players should need to go with the runners in, but it's a great run and it's a great strike. Taylor Mueller couldn't go over quick enough, and Joe Kuzminski's position will be questioned, but you know, I would say put that one down as a great finish. And this was the only real bright light. The first half was a claim for a penalty from Candelar's free kick. He's whipped it in, he's tried to sneak it around the wall. But all in all, one of the things you can say now is that the Battery really, that's probably one of the poorest performances this season for sure. And as I said, I think the coach had two options, and he'll be seeing now if he gets a response for his players, and it was a positive one, because that first half really everything didn't go against them. They got involved with the referee, and hopefully the second half they can go back. We know they're a good team. They've gone, you know, 4 or 5 games without a defeat, so they'll want to prove this right. They'll just want to put that down to a bad half in the office and come out and show this crowd, which has grown now, that they can fight back from this position.
You're absolutely right. If we've ever seen a resilient team, it's the Charleston Battery. So this game is far from over. 45 minutes still left to play here. You can see both teams made their way out to the pitch early. A big team talk for the Battery, led by the captain, Taylor Mueller. And we are underway for the second half here from Charleston, South Carolina.
And I don't think it's just Mike Anhauser who had a hard team talk. I think also for Bob Lilly, it's a hard team, because his team's 2-0 up without really playing the best football. And he'll want to make sure that he certainly doesn't want to give the Battery anything to sort of chew on in this first 5-10 minutes. He'll want to keep it nice and tight. And the longer it stays 2-0, then the better chance his team's got of getting away from here with the 3 points. 5
yellow cards issued in the first half, 4 of them to the Battery. So keep your eye on that as well in the second half. Here's James as he works it out of the back. Adewale.
Jameson.
Across to Veka Yasil.
2 shots at Jameson, Bourbon and Coke.
Well, it's denied by Lewis. Takes a deflection, and will be a throw-in for the visitors.
Yeah, and this second half is going to be all about application for these Battery players. They're good players. They haven't had a good first half. Now they've got to apply themselves, get into the game, and as I said, like now they're not looking for that spark. Now that spark they should have got at half time. They've got to put this start again. Here we go. imagine it's 0-0 and play to get yourself back into the game.
Valesky, the pressure is there from Nelson. Mueller steps in, good touch from the captain. Into danger though, Anunga, fancy footwork, finds space with Rittmeyer.
Ooh, wow, that was close. Home run.
Nelson with limited options, pushes it to safety.
It was a real tight piece of play there. What I think you'll find from the Battery this half is that they'll give it 10 minutes to get going, and then if not, I think there'll be some changes made very quickly. They won't let the game go too far.
Mueller tracking back to recover. Velarde looking for the feet of Canado Forbes. That's a good touch from Zico Lewis. Here's Rittmeyer. Rittmeyer with some pace down the flank. Back to Anunga.
That was more positive from Nico Rittmeyer there than he done in the whole first half, so that's good. And there's another positive sign with Brian Woodbine going forward. Van Schaik
with the cross, straight through to the feet of Nico Rittmeyer at the back. Can Rittmeyer re-deliver it? Yes, he can. Kurt with the second header. Here's James. One back by the home side.
And already you can see they look a lot more composed, the Battery commentators curse there for Brian Woodbine, but look a lot more assured. They've had 2 crosses in already with some quality that they didn't even have in the first half. So you can see they've settled down now. Now they've got to build their performance. Get used past the ball, go back to doing what they're doing with a bit more quality. Get Zico Lewis, Pigger on the ball, and see if they can play their way back into this game.
If you're just joining us late, Canado Forbes and Kevin Kerr were the difference in the first half. Like I mentioned, coming into the match, 10 goals on the season so far for the Riverhounds. Seven different goal scorers on that sheet. And of course, for the Battery, undefeated at home heading into this match.
And that's a great statistic if you're Bob Lilly. You've got lots of players scoring. It shows you how expansive your football is.
Here's Zico Lewis trying to find the feet of Arthur Bashua in the attack. Kerr.
Some good positive signs though, isn't there? Like straight away this crowd, now they just need a little goal scoring opportunity just to wake the crowd up now, get them back on their side, and then start to push forward.
Rittmeyer looking for Lewis. Adewale was there. Savannah native, College of Charleston product on the flank there, Nico Rittmeyer. Across to Candela in his second season with the Battery, working in a tight space in the middle of the park.
He's one that they need his work rate, they need his energy. Candela just in there, just trying to win balls and pop them off to the more creative players, Pigger and Lewis, and see if they can sort of inflict their magic on this second half.
Van Schaik into Anunga. Anunga, a real workhorse in the middle of the park for Mike Anhauser. Led the team in both tackles and interceptions last season. Here's Rittmeyer. The touch is there out to the back by Ryan James, but it'll be a throw for the home side. Corner, it looks like, for the home side.
I think this will be Zico Lewis. He's got a great left foot. This is what they need. They need one of his dangerous free kicks whipped into the front post to get something on the end of it. And he does have good delivery. And finally, we've had a little bit of life from this crowd. And it's a big crowd. You wouldn't notice it really from the noise yet, but if they can get this in now.
Here comes the delivery from Lewis. Away at the near post, but finds its way to the back. Kyle Nelson gets the header down. And Greenspan out of the back. A free kick for the visitors.
The referee's given a free kick. I think Nelson's just gone over the top of him. Yeah, they're all moaning again, but they've probably been warned at half time. Next one who moans that the referee's coming off. And Pittsburgh Riverhounds now, they'll take their time now. They'll just try and take time off the clock. Morton, the experienced player now, he's just going to, wherever he can, just try and take a little bit more time.
I mentioned in the first half there's been a bit of change in between the goalkeepers. For Bob Lilly's side, that was almost a dangerous one, but no damage done for Kuzminski. Kevin Kerr lurking around there. Then Lundgaard, the other goalkeeper that's seen a lot of playing time this season, who's on the bench tonight. This is a good ball into the attack for Romario Piggott. He's brought down in the box, and there's no call from the referee, but it will be a corner for the Battery.
And that's, I have to say, that's great defending by Greenspan there. He's on a yellow card. That had to be perfect. It was the same situation he'd done in the first half. He used his frame a little bit. Piggott was just trying to wriggle around him. But that's any indiscretion there, he's probably off the field.
Here comes the delivery from Vincenzo Candela. As you can see there, the fans getting behind the home side. It's going to be an in-swinger from the far side. The height is in the box. The referee just having a word though, a bit of pushing and shoving going on in there. Candela, it's a good ball towards the back post. Pumped up in the air, Lewis to bring it down. The danger isn't over. Brian Anunga gets the foul called on Adewale.
Yeah, but 7 minutes in, we've had 2 corners, we've had 2 crosses. You know, it's already a lifetime better than it was in the first half. So now the crowd's getting into it. You can probably hear on the mics now the crowd are getting into it. So it's good positive steps from the Battery. And now the Riverhounds are in a game. For the first time now, they know they're in a game. They've got to keep working hard. They've got to keep getting it forward to their players and keep banging away just to see if they can stay in this game.
Banshee into Piggott. Back to Van Schaik. This is positive from the Battery. Straight in. And Morton forced to make the save out the back. Candela now. I thought was there to see if Morton was off his line. Nelson forced to go back to Mueller, and you can see just from there the Battery getting into the attack.
Yeah, good play again. You know, it's not on there. In the first half they were forcing things like that, but right now they're just being a little bit more patient in their play. The referee's done Pittsburgh a favour there because I think they wanted to play quickly, did Anunga, but you see there, Candela's just tried to receive it and he's just been caught with a little bit of a late challenge.
Number out wide to Woodbine. Good texture on the pass to Piggott. Kevin Kerr on the run with the ball out the back, the 30-year-old Scotsman. Nelson. Lilly, the head coach for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, looks on below up off his bench.
He's been in the game long enough to know that his team's under a little bit of pressure now. We've got a team that underperformed in the first half and are starting to come alive in his second half.
Back, Zico Lewis by Vanko Yazil. You mentioned it got a bit heated, didn't it, just before the first half whistle. 5 players in the books combined between these two sides. And a lot of players going to have to be careful for the remainder of this match.
Yeah, Pittsburgh are doing a good job of trying to frustrate the Battery. The Battery's trying to play quickly. They're leaving, when they give away free kicks, they're leaving players in. They're just trying to, a little bit of gamesmanship there. Now the Battery players just got to keep their cool, keep playing. As I said, they've done well. They've got themselves back into this. The referee's given an offside there for a player coming back.
Fans, you can get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for the Charleston Battery, then click the follow button to keep up to date with the latest news, scores, and get reminders on the Charleston Battery's next matches. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club.
Tickets. Tonight's winning number is 351314. Again, the number is 351314 for the Regiment raffle ticket giveaway.
Played by the veteran
And
team.
the guest
Lets it
services
fall
to
straight
your
through
prize.
for Joe
Congratulations.
Kosminski.
Again,
There is movement on both
351314.
sides. Down below us.
And this is certainly the most vocal I've seen Taylor Mueller this season. He's really stepping up as the captain. He's ordering his players around. He's not asking them anymore now. He's telling them, which I like to see. He's, as I said, I know Taylor very well, and he's a great lad, and now he's taking his responsibility as a captain really well.
Woodbine. Finds Nelson in space.
Ryan, don't pull yourself out.
Riverhounds opting to sit in. Candela.
We're fine, Ryan. Run the middle. Sammy, get over.
Full Rittmeyer. Zico Lewis now trying to turn. Denied at the back by Adewale. Joshua, it's a good ball to Lewis.
Loose touch for Lewis, which is very unusual for him. Now Pittsburgh having to work extremely hard now to work their way out there. In the first half they could just play their way out. Now the batteries, you know, they're certainly a lot higher up the field, under a little bit of pressure.
Piggott picks up the second ball in the middle of the park.
And that's been the big difference, that second ball. First half it was falling to the Pittsburgh players. Now the battery are starting to make it happen for themselves. Piggott's starting to come into the game, isn't he? Lewis is starting to come into the game.
Greenspan out of the back, and Dover clears up the seconds. Here's Anunga.
He's on a yellow card as well, only Greenspan. You know, we mentioned earlier, you know, he's got to be very careful now as the battery starts to put more and more pressure on, which they should do as the home team. He's going to be put more and more under pressure himself.
Woodbine getting into the attack. Free kick for the Riverhounds, though, just almost coming in over the top. Fans, while we have a second, let me update you with some scores around the league. Hartford and Charlotte Independence 1-1 in the 83rd minute. Indy 11, North Carolina 0-0, just about at full time there. Atlanta United 2, trailing to Nashville SC 2-0. And of course, some games to follow on the West Coast tonight to come. Keep you up to date with those as we go on tonight here. James for Kerr.
Volsky and Forbes have done some very intelligent running tonight. Even in the second half, you know, Kerr gave another example of what he can do and how he can play, and he's very, very, very intelligent.
Looking for a breakaway, didn't quite click that time. Here's Valesky. Mueller steps in. Almost took a touch, just out of bounds before it did so. Here's Kuzminski, plays it out quickly. Nelson. Team building from the back. Boshua there. Like you said, Derek's come in and done very well. Replaced Ian Svanterson, who took a knock a couple of weeks ago.
He puts a lot of energy into his game, doesn't he? He's a big, strong lad. He's got good technical qualities, but he puts his work rate in. He doesn't wait to be told what to do. He's always chasing things, and yeah, that won't do him any harm in his career. That is the fact he's prepared to put a good shift in every time he runs onto the field.
60 minutes approaching in the books here from Charleston, South Carolina. Perfect conditions out there, still 75 degrees. A very slick surface after light rainfall earlier this afternoon. Here's the Riverhounds on the attack. Straight into the box. It's a brilliant challenge from Candela, but it'll be a corner for the visitors.
And then that was another one of them challenges. It had to be right. You know, any missed time tackle there. One, it's a penalty, and then you run the risk of this referee, you know, handing out the cards, and he's got 5 already tonight. So some referees think they do that and it keeps the discipline running, but here's this corner now. It's going to be whipped in.
It's going to be the rookie Velarde with the delivery, and in swinger from the far side. It's a good ball in towards the back post. Kevin Kerr coming in late. Took a bit of an awkward deflection. Kuzminski's ball taken quickly. Zico Lewis on the run. Forced in his tracks. The fans around unhappy with that decision.
The referee's indicating there that Zico Lewis made a back for him. I think he's right there. He didn't make an attempt to get the ball. He just let the guy jump up and over the top of him. So I think it was Ryan James there that jumped up, but crowd aren't happy with that decision.
We mentioned these two teams, old Eastern Conference rivals, the only two members of the Old Guard Shield. the league after the
lucky winner
Richmond
is sitting
Kickers
in section
departed
W7,
into
row
League One.
G, seat number 1. W7, row G, seat number 1. You are the winner of the glass
Well, it looks like Mike Anhauser's
giveaway
getting
for
ready
tonight.
to make a change
Please
down
make your way
below.
over to the customer service desk to receive your beautiful
Here's
gift.
Kevin
from
Kerr
Glass
leads
Eco
Canado
Services.
Forbes. Forbes looking to come into the box. Carl Nelson trying to get the challenge. The header is there, and just wide of the target.
That was very unlucky. Forbes has done
Thank you.
great
The
here.
Glass
We see
Eco
that again.
Services
Forbes
for
has
your
done really well. I think the
handcrafted
battery are
and
complaining
green
for
gift.
offside, but Forbes has beat Nelson there a couple of times, and he's put a great cross into the back post. And that was a good job. Was it Volsky there? See, he probably should have scored there. If you might Anhauser now, I think you look at it. You need a real positive change. There's a couple of options on the bench that you can do. Okay, maybe you think about, shall I take players off that are on yellow cards? But you need to. You know, it's been a much improved second half performance, but now you need that goal. The goal that's going to put pressure on Pittsburgh to come out and play a little bit more. As their third goal at this stage of the game, I think you'd have to say that would probably be the end of it.
Rittmeyer. For Canton. Battery trying to turn the tide. Van Schaik on the far side. Led in by Romario Piggott. Could this be a chance for the black and yellow? It's Lewis over the top of the crossbar. Zico Lewis can't quite get over it.
I think, to be fair to him, I think it might have taken a little bobble. You know, given the benefit. A great play by Van Schaik, great overlap run. It wasn't the greatest pass, was it? It was like bobbled into him. That's a hard technique. It was slightly behind him. But that's good positive signs. I mean, that's the second time now Van Schaik's got in, linking up with Piggott on that far side. So that's a good thing. And as I said, you know, that was a good clear-cut chance. So, again, this game's far from over. I think a goal either way now will certainly reflect how this game ends up. If it's a battery goal, I think we've got a really good 20 minutes. I think if Pittsburgh were to get it, I think the game would then just run its course.
Well, here comes that substitution we just mentioned. It's going to be Naku Daly to make his way onto the pitch. And out comes Romario Piggott. I've got to say, Romario Piggott looked very creative, especially in the second half.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise, I think, you know, but he's coming back off an injury, isn't he? You know, he's certainly shown he's got his qualities. It takes a little bit of time to play yourself back in.
Heading out for your battery, number 8, Romario Piggott.
Naku Daly, just 18 years old, the Jamaican Youth International. Former Clarendon College striker of the Jamaican National Premier League.
And this young lad's got unpredictability and pace, which is really, really worrying if you're a seasoned pro.
Here he is now, Naku Daly. You mentioned a bit of a wild card coming in. He's already bringing some energy to the side. Here's Anunga.
Yeah.
To the top of the box. Lays one off.
But no, he is. Daly will bring some unpredictability. He's got good pace. Sometimes when you get a young player, that can be a little bit frustrating to play with him because you know the defence doesn't know what he's going to do and you don't know what he's going to do. But you know he only needs a little half a chance there, and I think he could certainly have a footprint in this game as well.
See Kevin Kerr there, just having a word with Bob Lilly. Tactical exchanges. Woodbine forced to track back. Kuzminski quickly out of the back.
So Kuzminski's got to learn to move his feet a little bit quicker there. He knew he was getting a back pass. He didn't run round it enough. He ends up side footing it out. He's just got to work his feet a little bit more.
I mentioned Joe Kuzminski, really been a mainstay this season for Mike Anhauser. Started every match. 2 clean sheets on the season so far. The former UAB product, 12 clean sheets in the 24 matches he appeared in last season for the Battery. And we highlighted him in the pre-game, some stellar saves already so far this year. Here's Anunga.
This is a real strange game for him. He's let 2 goals in already, and he hasn't really had anything to do.
Rittmeyer leaves James behind. It's a good ball looking to go to the back post. Nobody home. Dover sends it to safety anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about Rickman. When he does that, when he is positive, he's very, very good. And here comes another substitution for the battery. As I said, you can see in games like this, you know, when things aren't working, you've got to try and change it a bit more.
See Angelo Kelly down below, ready to come in. Looks like he'll come in after this set piece opportunity. Vincenzo Candela with another corner kick. Here comes the delivery, this time to the near post. It's an awkward one, it's an under. Over at the top of the bar.
Just didn't come down for him, did it? Again, it came to him very, very quickly. He done really well to sort his feet out and to get a strike off. But he just couldn't force it down on target.
It's going to be Kyle Nelson to make his way off. On comes Angelo Kelly, the Iowa native. Played Mississippi Brilla prior to joining the battery. As he comes into his second season for the black and yellow.
I think he'll just slot straight in. That's a straight swat. I mean, you know, Angelo Kelly's very versatile. You know, he's predominantly a central midfield player, but he can get in this formation, he can go in and sit. He's got good height, he's got good feet, very determined.
Angelo Kelly.
Greenspan heads away out the back. Well, it looks like Bob Lilly is also getting ready to make his first substitution of the night.
That's normally what happens, isn't it? When one team tactically shows their hand, the other one comes in and tries to counteract it. And, you know, with Bob Lilly having, you know, a good 2-goal cushion right now, he'll be wanting just to come in and reinforce that, maybe a attacking influence off and a defensive influence on.
You mentioned the Riverhounds being defensively sound. Led the USL in clean sheets last season with 17 on the year. Angelo Kelly battling down here. Numbers on his side, and Candela steps in. Looking for the chip ball over to Kurt. Held up by Anunga.
And that could work in their favour, the battery bringing Angelo Kelly on, because he's a good passer of the ball, and to have him playing in that position would be really...
Your attention, fans, we have the winners of the Domino's Frisbee Toss. The Domino's Frisbee Toss are for winners.
Again, that stage now where we really do need to turn this positive second half into a chance or a goal, just so that they can actually give the last 18, 20 minutes and have a real go and really test this Pittsburgh team.
Of the Domino's Frisbee Toss. Head over to the guest services table to claim your prize. Congratulations.
It's going to be Uchenna Uzu there, as you can see on your screen. The Nigerian makes his first start of the season for the Riverhounds. First appearance, sorry, of the season for the Riverhounds. Coastal Carolina Youth International. Come in and shore things up at the back for Bob Lilly. Now comes Kasai, as you can see there.
Kasai's had a good game, but as I said, I think that's a more of a defensive, you know, there's been 2 positive changes there by the battery. You know, forward-thinking players coming in, and Bob Lilly's just responded by bringing on another big physical presence there, just to try and counteract the substitutions from the battery there.
Velarde over the dead ball. He's got a couple of options in the box. You can see keeping some mainstays at the back line. No worries for Joe Kuzminski out of the back.
Volsky does well. Then that's the second good header he's got there. You know, he's not the tallest, but he does get on the end of those crosses. He's got good little creative movement that he does. And he's a good header of the ball as well.
Fans, who's up, who's down? Where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL Championship Power Rankings, only on USLChampionship.com. Here's Angelo Kelly. Propels into the attack. Sliding challenge out of the back by Adewale.
Yeah, straight away you can see Angelo Kelly, just, you know, the positivity coming out of him. He's prepared to run forward. He's a midfield player. He doesn't mind getting into the final.
Angelo Kelly, 2 assists on the season so far. Here's Rittmeyer.
Sure, they just had hold of a shirt there, so we could see it from our angle, and that's very frustrating because he got himself into a good position.
Still Bob Lilly up on the sideline, dishing his instructions to his side. Some back and forth communication again with Kevin Kerr just there. It's a big ball into the attack. Woodbine goes up for the header, runs straight through for Kosminski. Played quickly, here's Kelly. Gets the 1-2 from Anunga. Into the attack it goes, Arthur Boschua is there. Wale tries to play it out, stops dead in its tracks. Mueller. It's a dangerous ball. Could this be a chance for Valesky? Woodbine comes across to cover. He takes a positive touch into the box, and what a challenge from the Jamaican veteran.
Yeah, and again, that's about the third tackle in this game that had to be perfect. Players on yellow cards, making last-ditch tackles in the box, and it was time to perfection.
Canado Forbes will come across to take it. Let's have another look at that. What a challenge, Derek.
Yeah, no, it was. As I said, he used all the experience there. Great covering. And again, he even tackled, he was slightly off balance, but he just made sure that he just stayed on the floor and knocked it out for a corner. Good play by Woodbine.
Here's Canado Forbes in his second season with the Riverhounds. Here's the delivery. Sminsky picks up the spillage, plays quickly, Anunga. Lewis on the run, runs into a bit of danger.
I think what the crowd are saying is that should be a card. And whatever, but you see that he wasn't aware that the player was coming. He's just shooting. There's a little bit of an elbow there as well. Yep. It's an Anunga challenge on Anunga there.
Brian Anunga, the 2018 Charleston Battery MVP. There he goes, straight back into the attack. Adewale for Velarde. The Riverhounds on the front foot now. Kevin Kerr in acres of space, he finds his feet.
Intelligent running there by Kerr, anyway, he just drifts out wide, makes himself available, and sort of takes the sting out of the Battery possession and attack.
30-year-old subbed off 5 times so far this season, so maybe he will be one of Bob Lilly's changes that we've seen in other matches. You can see a very slick surface. Adewale just loses his footing there. Well recovered by Woodbine. Trying to find the feet of Arthur Boschua. Manka Yasil. Here's Kerr. I've got to say, looking at Kerr, he's just been all over the park tonight. Here he is now on the ball. Could this be a chance for the Riverhounds? He looks for the feet of Canado Forbes, and Angelo Kelly comes out on top. Here's Anunga. Very back and forth now. Arthur Boschua is there. Greenspan also, and Morton to the top of the box to clear.
Great play by Angelo Kelly, when he covered in, very intelligent pass. Already thought there Kerr was going to take a strike there. He got in behind, and it's unusual for him to sort of give up an opportunity for someone else.
Rittmeyer. Got Kelly with him. Opts for that option. Daly. He was taken down, and that is going to be a penalty for the black and yellow. Naku Daly, the substitute, taken down in the box. And here we go, the Battery have a chance to pull one back. Let's have another look, Derek.
Yeah, and that's that unpredictability about the kid. He gets it in there, he just rolls his defender, he's got good pace. He uses his body well. Now this is a big moment, isn't it? Because now with 15 minutes to go, as I said, the Battery, to be fair to them, they've come on. And Zico Lewis is going to be the man to step up here and take on this penalty.
Zico Lewis, the Bermudian international, 2 goals on the season so far. He stands over the dead ball. Can he put the black and yellow back on the score sheet? It's Zico Lewis. Yes, he can. finesse to its finest. Zico Lewis pulls one back for the home side.
I think the battery's going to make their final sub here. I think it'll be. I think we're going to see who they're going to bring out. But he has a great penalty in it. He just waits, has a little stutter, looks. Fine. I mean, he's in fine form in the Zico Lewis. So if anyone was going to take a penalty, and I thought it was, yeah, Van Schaik's going to come out. Dante Marini, who's been the saviour a couple of times this season. This game's all set up for his third one, isn't it now? And now we've got a real good last 15 minutes on here. Zico Lewis, lovely penalty, little stutter step. He finds the corner very, very cleverly.
Zico Lewis, cool, calm and collected from the PK spot. The Battery have one back. It's 2-1 here in Charleston, South Carolina. And the super sub Dante Marini has made his way onto the pitch, but straight away at the other end, here come the Riverhounds. It's Kevin Kerr in the box, falls to the top. Candela.
Fans, it's now time for the Domino's $6 pizza. Head on over to the Domino's pizza truck.
McHugh Daly now, here's that piece you were talking about, Derek. He's got Arthur Boschuer in the box. He's going to go all the way, and he forces Morton to make the save at the near post.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, in the last 3 minutes, this young man has just got this crowd. He's just got about a couple of thousand people off their seats, because what he's done is he's come on, he's got enthusiasm, he's got energy, and this was, again, look, he's used his pace again. And, you know, fair play to him. People say he could have crossed, but look, it shows the confidence of the young lad that he's prepared to take a shot.
18-year-old McHugh Daly coming out, firing on all cylinders. And here comes Vincenzo Candela with the in-swinger. There's numbers in the box for the Battery. Taylor Mueller's in the mix. Here comes the ball. Greenspan away. Lewis for Kelly. Tries to do a bit of a back heel. And Nunga does enough to recover. Here's Tar Brian Anunga straight across the box. Arthur Boschuer pops it up. Marini's in the mix. And Morton brings the ball down for safety.
But again, you know, and kudos to Mike Anhauser here. He's made 3 very positive substitutions. You know, some coaches don't want to put an 18-year-old into the mix, and he's done that. He's had confidence in the kid.
Let's have another look at this decision, Derek.
I think the referee is going to give him a card. No, he's not. But basically, I mean, Arthur Boschuer really just turns his back. And he's not trying to put his hand. He's putting his hand up to talk to his player. So yeah, I don't think he put his hand up actually to stop the ball. And if he did, he's clairvoyant, because if you look, see, he was not even looking at the ball. So if the referee gives him a card, I think that's one that he could review there, because he actually was not looking to put his hand on the ball.
Arthur Boschuer joins the list of players in the books. Here's 2 substitutions for Bob Lilly. Steven Dos Santos comes in, replacing Christian Valesky as one of them, and Nico Brett is going to be the other substitution. And he's going to come in and replace Anthony Velarde. And 2 attacking changes for Bob Lilly. Nico Brett, the Jamaican international.
They're quite bold substitutions at this stage of the game. It just looks like light for light now, with no change of system.
O2 Fitness VIP Fit Row of the game.
A bit of a spring in
Again, the
his step
O2
there.
Fitness VIP Fit Row of the game. If you are sitting in section W5, row G, you are the winner of a 3-day VIP pass to O2 Fitness. Again, if you are sitting in section W5, row G, you are the winner of a 3-day VIP pass to O2 Fitness. Congratulations.
To the top of the box. There's the substitutes working now.
Bob Lilly looks like the best. Bob Lilly looks like the best form of defence is attack with the substitutions he's made. So kudos to him as well.
Absolutely right. Attacking changes from both managers down below in this match. McHugh Daly up against Greenspan there. Mueller takes a touch. Dos Santos was on the run as well. The new duo up top to finish out the game in this last 10 minutes for Bob Lilly.
Comes again Daly. Look again, Zico Lewis has found him there. Let's have a look at what unpredictability he's got here now. Look, he's in again.
He's in again. McHugh Daly takes the strike. It's the newcomer, McHugh Daly, to equalise the scoring here on home soil. And And what a moment that is for the youngster.
The battery has found another hero, another young hero. He's coming, he's just changed this game. As I said, there's exactly what he's all about. He's got the ball. It's a great ball by Lewis, just put him out. He's about 30 yards from goal, and he just wriggles around. Here he goes, look, in and out, 3 players in between. Almost Maradona-like, the way he just dribbled in there and done it. So fantastic. Great to see a young player play without fear.
You can see the substitutes for Mike Hanhauser getting his players, and the fans geared up around us. Naku Daly, what a moment it is for him, 18 years old in his first professional season. And let's have another look at this, Derek.
Yeah, it's great play. Look, it's just bold. There's no fear there in it. And at the end of that, there's a great finish. He just lifts it over the goalkeeper. It was very similar to the chance he had about 2 minutes ago. So, you know, as I said, great play. And it just shows you whatever that half-time team talk was, whether it was the carrot or the stick, you know, it's paid dividends. You know, they've got themselves back into this game. And, you know, as I said, the 3 substitutions, I think, have changed the tempo of the game and the quality of the game.
Again, you've got to give credit to Mike Hanhauser, pick Naku Daly up from seeing him as a massive contributor for Jamaica in the CONCACAF qualifying championships. Brought the youngster in, and what a difference he has made.
And it's time to announce the winner of the 50-50 raffle.
As I said, he lured in for the penalty. It's a great, I mean, that goal itself deserves to win a game and get yourself back in, but it's youthful enthusiasm that's brought in. He's lifted his whole team.
2 early goals from the Riverhounds, 5 minutes and 11 minutes in. The Battery have equalised.
Congratulations to Michael Costa, you are the winner of the 50-50 raffle. Head on over to the guest services table to claim your prize. Congratulations.
The closing minutes of the match. Now you've got to say the Battery got some wind behind their sails now.
Yeah,
the final 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, they've played themselves back in, and as I said, you know, they never panicked. As I said, they were in a bad situation at half-time, but they've come out. They're the team that we've seen most of the year, and now they're back in it. And now, I mean, this game could go either way. As I said, Bob Lilly's made some positive choices, and with this man Kerr on the field, anything could happen.
Kerr has been all over the pitch tonight. And just a bit too late for the referee's liking there. Kevin Kerr down below.
I think Anunga's pleading his innocence here, but he's coming. Yeah, I think he did catch him. He did catch him. Just it's a sore one. I think if the crowd look at it again on the. And if they actually were to see that again, they would see it was a foul. You know, sometimes referees do get criticised in the heat of the game, especially with the Battery coming back into this game, but that was another good decision.
It's going to be Conrado Forbes to take it. Greenspan, of course, making his way into the box. Arthur Boschua tasked with marking him. And here comes the delivery from Forbes. It's a dangerous one, and Kuzminski nice and coolly collected.
We've got a great 7 or 8 minutes left now. There's been 6 substitutions, so that would lead you to believe there's going to be at least 3 minutes of overtime or extra time. So, you know, we've got about 10 minutes left in this game where either team really could win. I mean, the Battery has sort of clawed their way back in, but, you know, with the players that they have, Pittsburgh, you know, and Kerr and so on, they've still got a chance to stay in this game and try and get the 3 points.
Dos Santos. And together 1-2 from Kirk goes the other way. Here's Daly again. Naku Daly is going to take a touch. Can he get around Greenspan? Still on the run, showing his fresh legs there. I'll tell you what, he's been putting the back line under pressure from the moment he stepped on the pitch.
You ask any player to raw speed, and he's got raw speed, but he's got quality with it, but he's just got raw speed. Once he starts going and get his legs forward, he can certainly open up his legs and go. I think he's struggling with a little bit of a knock right now. It's on the edge of the opponent's box.
The offside for the Riverhounds. You're absolutely right. Naku Daly down just by Kyle Morton. Play on at the other end of the pitch though. Kuzminski out of the back. Rittmeyer brings it down under a bit of pressure. Kelly for Boschua. They're going to tap it out of play for their youngster down. All the way home to Kuzminski. Still playing. Not sure if they're aware, and here comes O'Brien Woodbine. He's going to knock it out. Well, Mike Hanhauser has used all his substitutions, Derek.
Yeah, you're hoping it's just a little knock. He's a young lad. And I said, you know, of all the players out on that field right now, he'll be the one that wants to just shake this off and get back into this game, because he's had a major impact. And he's just explaining to the physiotherapist there about what he's done.
Bobby Weisenberger there of MUSC Health in his 10th season with the Charleston Battery, always taking fantastic care of the players. Head coach Mike Hanhauser up off your screen below there.
No, but it's just a little, as I said, a little twist, a little niggle. You know, dust him down. As I said, he's probably got about another, you know, maximum 6, 7, maybe 8 minutes left to play in this game. And he could really make this a fairy tale ending for him, if he can come on and get a final goal for his team.
And of course, we mentioned Dante Marini at half-time, the super sub from the last couple of games. 2 goals, 2 game winners. He's on the pitch as well, so keep your eye on him tonight as well. Greenspan, great sportsmanship there, sending it back to Kuzminski.
It's always good for a coach when you can make changes from the bench and you know you're going to come in and have positive impacts.
Lewis, it's a positive turn. Zico Lewis heading straight into the attack. He's charging in, his strike is there. And a fantastic save by Kyle Morton. The danger isn't over. Nikhil Daly is pulled down again. The call isn't there this time. Straight out of the back, the Battery on the front foot. Rittmeyer.
It was unbelievable play there by Zico Lewis though, wasn't it? Fantastic play.
Here's Nico Rittmeyer, Nikhil Daly down again. It's a good ball to the back post. The header is there. The tap-in wasn't. And Greenspan clears his lines. Yeah,
and the pressure's all now from the Battery, isn't it? You know, these last couple of minutes, they're really sort of getting on the front foot. And there's Zico Lewis. I think Boschua didn't think he was going to win that header. I don't think he really made an effort to get there, but good couple of minutes there for Zico Lewis.
It's just really opening up now. Kevin Kerr roaming in the middle.
Now if you're the Battery, you don't really want to concede. You know, you can take a lot of positives from this comeback performance now. It would be absolutely heartbreaking if Pittsburgh Riverhounds could nick one at the end and all the hard work gets left behind.
Sure.
Fans, please refrain from hopping over the fences and field boards or running onto the field when the match concludes.
Nico Brett
we ask that you remain in your seats when the final whistle blows. Any fan that violates this
trying to find a bit of space in front of him.
Thank you.
It's picked up by Lewis. Marini gets it through with the seconds. Here's Candela. Out wide for Rittmeyer. Nico Rittmeyer, the run is coming from Kelly. Substitute with the fresh legs.
And all 3 subs have made impact. Kelly's been very positive.
Here's Brian Anunga. There's numbers in the box. It's a dangerous ball in. He forces Morton to commit. Morton rises to the occasion.
Everyone's looking at the 4th official now, seeing how much time's left. I think there's one more chance at least in this game, and it depends on who it falls to now.
It's been so back and forth, Derek. We haven't had a chance to award your Heineken Man of the Match for tonight's game. Zico Lewis now on the run. Can he create something? He gives an awkward one back to Morton. He hasn't quite got the backup there with him.
Zico was complaining there. He said he knew it was a great situation and he'd gone into it.
Here's Boschua for Marini.
So I think even though the young man's only been on for about 20 minutes, I'm going to give it to him. I think Daly, yeah, he's definitely going to be my man of the match. You know, he's come in, he's changed a very average performance into a very good performance, and I think he deserves. So
Nikhil Daly has played a part in both the goals for the Battery. He will be the Heineken Man of the Match for tonight's game.
The official has indicated 3 minutes of stoppage time.
3 minutes of added on time here from Charleston, South Carolina. To Santos. Back to Forbes. Forbes with the chip ball through. Kevin Kerr still working in the attack.
I think it's been one of them games with all 3 substitutes for the home team. You know, Angelo Kelly coming on. I think, you know, Nikhil Daly coming on. and Dante Marini coming up have all made a big impact in this game that's got them over the line or got them back, get them to a point where they can get something from the game.
Mueller. Picked up by James. Chaos in the middle. Greenspan takes a touch and brings it down. Ground ball into the feet of Steven Dos Santos. Here's Canado Forbes. He's got the overlapping run there available. Goes to the top of the box for Kevin Kerr. Kevin Kerr drops it out wide this time. Kerr with the delivery. Kuzminski tries to pull from the air and manages to pick up the loose.
He's been very assured in the air, Joe, because I think he just misjudged it there. He didn't think anyone was behind him, but to be fair to him, he recovered it nice and you know, properly and got it back in.
Here's Boshua. The Battery win the throw. There's still time on the clock for another attack.
Getting into Marini time. Dante Marini time to come in and see if he can steal that winner. He's creeping up on that far side.
There's Angelo Kelly. Dinks one into Boshua just outside the box. Back to Kelly. Kelly with the delivery. Punched away. Marini is there. Is Marini going to let this fall out? This could very well bring up a chance for O'Brien Woodbine. And we know just exactly what he's capable of, Derek.
Yeah. Morton didn't look assured there, did he? But now this is you know, Woodbine here can really get this in. He's got good delivery from his throw, and it comes in almost, sometimes even better than a corner kick. So see, this is probably going to be the last chance of the game to see if they can get something from it.
This could be a fairy tale ending for the Battery. Here comes the delivery. It's chaos in the box. It takes an awkward deflection, and the Riverhounds manage to clear it out the box. Kuzminski's there. Can he drop it back into the mix? Time is running out for the black and yellow. One last punt forward. Comes up in the air, Marini picks it up, and that's going to fall in favour of the visitors. Additional time is over now. The referee's having a look at his watch, and that looks like it's going to be all we see from MUSC Health Stadium. 2-2 is the final score, and Derek Broadley, what a match that was.
Yeah, it wasn't a game of two halves. It was a game of the first 15 minutes and then the last sort of 20 minutes, and then everything else that happened in between was not good from both sides. But what it does show you that, you know, goals change games, and sometimes individual players can change games. And the Q Daly's come onto a game there, a young man, and he's, you know, we spoke about when he come in, he's unpredictable, he's got pace, and he came in and he's really dug a result out for his team tonight, which is fantastic.
I've got to say, like you said, Mike Anhauser with 3 fantastic substitutions. What a battle it was out there. Let's take a look at some highlights from tonight's match, because you've got to say there was plenty of them.
No, it started off, this was you know, very poor start from the Battery, great little ball in here in Kerr. It's a great finish, he draws Kuzminski out and just slips it past him. Then he went from bad to worse, a great run in by Forbes, and this is a great goal. You know, catches Kuzminski off his line a little bit, but that is a real clinical, creative finish. Then we get the penalty here from Zico Lewis, very calm, which really, at this stage of the game, the way the game was going, he took a lot of heart to step up and take that. And then the man of the moment, this is a great goal. Look, you know, 18 years of age, prepared dribbling, and then finish with a little finish like that is fantastic. And, you know, he certainly stamped his name here on the local fans and crowds. So, you know, really pleased for him, and definitely deserves his man of the match because he's changed it around.
You can see the 18-year-old Naku Daly there, the Heineken man of the match, Mike Anhauser there, getting interviewed by the local media. Well, that just is about all we have time here for from Charleston, South Carolina. On behalf of Poppy Miller, Derek Broadley, the entire broadcast crew, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.